I know you guys like the chickens, but you know, you can live without them for a little bit while we do SeraphShares, okay? You can live without them. So, let me get my notes here. Okay. So, as most of you know, I ran GodSquadChurch last week from my computer. It was the first time that GodSquadChurch had ever been run not on Susie's computer, which was pretty cool. Now that we've done it once, we can do it again, and that just really makes us a lot more flexible. But where I'm going with this is, I had always wanted that job of running OBS for GodSquadChurch, like ever since it started. And they're always having these issues, you know, before I had even joined the God Squad. And I always wanted to be like, man, I know OBS really well. I wish I could do this. It'd just be awesome. But when I finally got to do it last Thursday, I was super nervous. Like, that's the most nervous I've been in a while. Like my heart was pounding. I was like shaking a little bit. Like, the closer it got to starting, I was so stinking nervous. It was ridiculous. Because the pressure was on. Like if anything messed up, like, it was on me. And I didn't want to screw up GodSquadChurch. So if you guys were there for the pre-service prayer, I kind of derped. Apparently, when you right-click a scene in OBS, it switches to it. I didn't know that. But if you guys weren't there, basically the pre-service prayer countdown was going like it normally is. And I accidentally switched the scenes, so I'm going to show you guys that real quick. So there's the countdown. It's going. And then, oh, there's me. Oh, switch it back. Crap. But that's a problem because then the countdown restarts. So what I literally did was I opened up the countdown video in Adobe Premiere and like cut off the beginning part and made a shorter one so that I could restart that one, so we kind of started on time. Oh my goodness, that was my first flub. The only other flub that I remember was during the sermon, and it wasn't that bad. I just like switched back to the intro scene where Ray's like Pastor Boss logo comes in. It wasn't that bad. I just kind of left it. I don't think anyone noticed. But let's show that one more time because it's funny. I derped pretty hard. You just see me. I'm like, oh crap! Switch it back. So I wanted to talk about that. And it's loosely related to the rest of what I want to get to tonight. So what I want to talk about now, I want to talk about putting on faces. So what do I mean by that? Well, in a nutshell, it's acting in a way that you normally wouldn't, or acting in a way that doesn't really match up with your personality or what you're actually feeling at the time. So people put on faces for different reasons, right? And it's not always a bad thing. In fact, I'd argue that pretty much everybody watching has put on a face at some point, some kind of face. You know, maybe you had something going on in your life, like a family member passing, or, you know, maybe your parents are fighting or whatever it might be. It's getting you pretty down, right? But, you know, you still got to go to work or school or whatever you got to do. You still have to live life, right? And, you know, you've always got that interaction where somebody's like, hey man, how you doing? And you say good, because otherwise it's awkward, right? Like, nobody wants to be like, oh, well, I'm not doing so great. Like, and then they're like, sorry. Like that's super awkward. So even if you're like doing really bad, you almost always say good anyway, just so they don't ask or anything, and it's just not awkward. But when you think about it, that's putting on a face because you're not doing good. And so, you know, I try really hard. I try to not ask people how they're doing because of this. Because if they're not doing well, I don't want to like make them remember it. Even if they're gonna say good, like I don't, because it brings it to the forefront of their mind. And I'm really bad at not saying how you're doing. I've said it like half a dozen times at least today alone. So like, if you guys hear me saying that, if I ask how you're doing, like, be like, yo, don't ask me how I'm doing. Like, call me out, because I'm trying to stop that for the reasons I just explained. I don't want to like be awkward with people or make them feel bad if they're really not doing so hot. But of course, I don't want you guys to get the impression that I don't care about what's going on in your life. That's not it at all. If you got something going on, let us know. We'll tell you, or we'll tell you. We'll talk to you. We'll pray for you. All that good stuff. But you know, some people don't really want to talk about it, so I don't want to ask them how it's going. But anyway, so I'm sure plenty of us have put on a face in that sense. And I'll be honest with you guys. Like, there are some days where I turn on my stream and, you know, I'm all upbeat and stuff like I normally am. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, let's wreck these noobs. Let's go. I'm doing all the normal stuff, but really I'm not doing so great sometimes. Sometimes I'm even more upbeat if I'm like feeling bad, because I'm just trying to forget about whatever's going on. You know, in fact, there was a specific time back at the end of August where I went through something real. It was a Friday. I came home at like 7:30. I didn't even eat dinner. That's how like torn up inside I was. I didn't even eat. I just like went and streamed, and like, let me tell you, that was like one of the most like upbeat streams I ever had. I was all like, yo, how you doing? Whoa, let's go. Like I was so upbeat because I was just trying really hard to forget about stuff. So why am I talking about this months later? Well, I want you guys to realize that myself and the rest of the God Squad streamers, you know, we aren't always as happy as we seem. We aren't always doing as well as we might say we are. I'm not trying to say this for sympathy. Let me just get that out of the way. I'll get to the point. But you know, we come on the stream, me and the rest of the God Squad. We come on stream to encourage people, to lift each other up. And if we're just like, hey Seth, hey 3V Music, hey Karibo, you know, we can't just do that. Like, no one's gonna watch. It's hard to be encouraging and uplifting if we're just doing like that. So we have to put on a face. It's like a necessary evil. We have to put on a face that shows that like we're doing all right, we're doing well, so that we can still encourage other people. It's like especially Susie. Like, you know, sometimes I'll have, you know, kind of more mellow streams. I won't tell you guys that I'm necessarily doing bad. I normally tell you that like I'm doing all right, hanging in there, something to that extent. I won't really get into whatever's going on. But Susie, that guy never seems to have a bad day. He never seems to have a bad day. And I thought that for a long time too, because he's just so upbeat and ridiculously like pumped all the time. It's like he never gets it down. But you know, when I joined the team, and so after that, I still like really hadn't seen Susie outside of like his normal self. But you know, the more I talked to him, the more I got to know him. I got to walk through him with some struggles that he was going through. And you know, like even he gets down sometimes. Even he struggles with stuff. But you know, we all put on these faces for you guys, for everyone watching. So again, I'm not looking for sympathy from you guys or anything like that. But I'm telling you this because the people in your life that you talk to every day, sometimes they might be going through something. We're all really good at putting on faces. It's not that hard to just kind of fake it. So, some people might be bad at it, but I think most people it comes pretty naturally to them to just put on a face, because they'd rather They'd rather not have the awkward conversation with somebody about how they're not doing so well. So just recognize that the people in your life might not always be doing as great as they seem to be. And so am I asking you to talk to them, be like, hey, are you really okay? Well, maybe not necessarily. If you feel like something's off, maybe like ask them in private, are you doing all right? How you doing? But just kind of know, like, so we like to joke around a lot and stuff, but maybe like a joke you make or something, maybe it just hits the wrong chord with somebody because they're really just not doing so well. We have to be careful. We have to realize that people are going through things all the time, and it's important to understand that and to be aware of it, and just be them for it. Be them, not be them. Don't be them. Be you, and be there for them. That's what I was trying to say. So yeah, that's what I've got for tonight for SeraphShares. Hope you guys liked it. Let's see. Susie is full of positivity and entertainment. For real. For real. Read that today in his stream. Well, a ball of joy and happiness. I wasn't asked how I'm doing. Now I'm sad, but I gotta hide it. Well, Mr. Mutant Gamer, that's because I'm trying not to do that, right? Trying not to do that.